right. Good Friday evening, South Carolina weather watcher. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson. Let's go and talk about the weather for your Friday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight. But first off, hopefully everyone has had a fantastic Friday today. As we go into now being, like I said, the end of the week. Yes, we have made it all the way to the end of the work week, meaning that the weekend is now upon us. So we made it all the way here towards a weekend, and now, a lot of us probably will have 3-day weekends, especially for when it comes to this winter storm right here. So, speaking of the winter storm, we have a lot of stuff that we're going to go in and talk about tonight. Obviously, being the short-term future, being one of the main things, especially with this whole winter storm in general. And then even as we go into the short term, like tonight, current conditions, tomorrow, we'll talk about, obviously, like I said, short term future. We'll talk about long term future as well. And that's some of the main things that we'll see there. And then in terms of, oh, there we go. All right. In terms of what's on tap for tonight, it's pretty much the same thing. It is pretty much the same thing. Let me get it right here because it is. I don't even see it. Oh, there it is. Okay, I found it. Let me go and do that. All right, there we go. All right, so it should be loaded up. But in terms of what's on tap for today, in terms of main stuff, a significant winter storm expected through Saturday morning, or expected Saturday morning through Saturday night, going into Sunday morning. Unseasonably cold Arctic air mass persists through early next week, and then dry and stable mid to late week pattern. Even though we're now getting out of that late week pattern now at this point, especially as we go into tomorrow. But without further ado, let's go on and talk about the weather for right now. So as you start off, not really much going on throughout the state. You have like some isolated areas of some rainfall, but for the most part, it just looks like that we are more just on the drier side, but there will possibly sprinkles here and there. There is definitely some snowfall trying to go into North Carolina right now, up there near Lumberton, over there, just to the north of the border of South Carolina, just to the north of Pageland as well. Now, what's going on right now throughout the entire U.S.? Well, obviously, like I said, maybe some isolated drizzle activity going on inside of South Carolina, some snowfall going on in Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina. We also have some snowfall in Oklahoma, going on in Arkansas, and maybe even over here inside of the Great Lakes region, over into the Midwest, and then inside of Nebraska, South Dakota, also over here near the UP of Michigan, and then some rainfall going on over here inside the Northwest, going into the Northern Rockies, Southern Texas as well, getting in on some of that rainfall. Now, what about for our cloud cover? Well, cloud cover right now, for the most part, is actually more on the cloudier side, which is not really too shocking. We were expecting that. So everybody, for the most part, is at least mostly cloudy right now. And even if we go into our future for cloud cover, if you want to push this forward, as we go all the way through tonight, this is 5 o'clock in the morning right here, still looks like cloud cover is still going to be a main point of emphasis. You all the way to around 10 o'clock in the morning here on Saturday, going all the way to 1 o'clock p.m. on Saturday. And this cloud cover is still here, and that will continue all the way through. We'll see a little bit of a break in the clouds as you go into like Saturday night in the western low country areas as that low pressure passes through. But that cloud cover is going to stay all the way. Sunday comes along, and then it's gone by that time frame. Here's Sunday at 2 p.m., going all the way to 7 o'clock p.m. here on Sunday, and we have cloud cover. It's trying to move it a bit into the upstate, but we'll definitely see a break from the cloud cover on Sunday. Current temperatures right now, you have around a good 43 in Somerville, 47 in Charleston, as well as 47 in Beaufort, 49 in Hilton Head Island, and 45 in Georgetown, 44 in Murray's Inlet, and 40 in Myrtle Beach, 37 in Conway, and 39 inside of North Myrtle Beach, 43 Orangeburg, and 40 inside of Sumter, 36 in Florence, 34 Hartsville, and 32 in Bennettsville, 39 Columbia, and 43 in Aiken, 38 Newbury, and 36 in Lawrence, 34 Union, and 32 York, Rock Hill, Spartanburg, 33 in Greenville, and 35 in Clemson. In terms of air quality for the most part, we're inside of the moderate category. Yes, the moderate category. If you're not inside of a category and you're inside like the clear spots with nothing there, you are in the good. You're in the clear. You're good right now. That includes a lot of the low country. That includes mainly all of the PD and the Grand Strand areas. But the yellow moderate area covers a lot of the upstate, a lot of the all of the Midland areas as well, and a little bit of the Western PD area. So let's go on and talk about these low temperatures for tonight. You have around a good 23 in Greenville, 22 in Spartanburg, as well as 21 in Rock Hill, 21 in Sharon, 22 in Dillon, 23 also inside of Florence, and 24 in Sumter and Kingstree, 27 in Georgetown, and 27 in Myrtle Beach, 28 in Moncks Corner, and 34 in Charleston, 30 Walterboro, and 39 in Hilton Head Island, 28 in Barnwell and Orangeburg, as well as 28 in Aiken, 25 in Columbia, and 24 in Greenwood and Anderson as well. And so you can see, just as we go throughout the entire state, the more northern parts, more in the lower 20s. You get to more towards like the lower part of the state, 30s, 40s, possibly low 40s. And I'm going to show you the high temperatures for tomorrow. And, this is not some early April Fool's joke. This is actually real high temperatures for tomorrow. High temperatures for tomorrow: 26 in Spartanburg, 25 in Rock Hill, as well as 26 in Girard, 27 in Greenville, and 28 in Anderson, 28 in Newbury, 30 in Greenwood, 30 Columbia, 29 in Sumter, 28 Camden, 28 Florence, as well as 34 in Myrtle Beach, 35 in Georgetown, 33 in Moncks Corner, and 38 in Charleston, 35 Walterboro, 42 inside of Hilton Head Island. And so these are high temperatures for tomorrow. We are all going to be extremely cold as we go even into the daytime, even, with the sun out, which the sun won't be out that much. But, even if it does, it's going to be cold as we get into tomorrow. So make sure that you're prepared for that. Make sure that you are prepared for that. And so another thing that we also need to talk about is the wind chills. So if we want to look at the wind chills, we're going to start off with tonight first. So these are our wind chills for tonight. It'll feel like the teens, maybe even near 10 over there, inside of like Dillon, for example. But for the most part, a lot of us are inside of the 20s for wind chills as we go into tonight. And so, like I said, this is tonight. That's not tomorrow during the day. Tomorrow during the day, if you thought that the actual temperatures was cold, look at the actual wind chill values tomorrow. While the wind is going, because obviously this storm system will bring wind with it, 20 to 30 miles per hour, it will bring wind chills into the single digits for a lot of people. And that's still not even our coldest. As we get into Sunday and Saturday night, it's going to get worse. It is going to get worse as we continue on. And I'll talk about that once we get into the temperatures for the future. But this right here, again, like I said, this is through Saturday tomorrow. So it's going to be cold tomorrow. Now, in terms of rainfall, as we go into total precipitation amounts, this goes for rainfall, this goes for snowfall, this goes for ice, this goes for freezing rain, sleet, whatever. Everything is included here on this map. You have a quarter of an inch to a half an inch for a lot of places in the upstate. Good amount of areas in the PD areas as well. Maybe even a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch over there near Anderson, near Kingstree, near Myrtle Beach, Georgetown. Maybe even around only a hundredth of an inch to a tenth of an inch for Charleston, Moncks Corner, in Hilton Head Island. But like I said, that's only through the next 24 hours. That's only now and through 7 p.m. on Saturday. So things will 100% change as we get into that being tomorrow, evening, tomorrow night, for example. In terms of ice for the next 3 days, freezing rain, sleet, not going to be too much of an issue. There is a chance that we definitely could see some, but for right now, it looks like that it's only like a very small area. Now, what about snowfall? Snowfall, for the most part, shows a good amount. Now, this is from the actual National Weather Service. This does not come from just, regular models. I guess technically it does because that's where they get it from. But it's like what the experts think is going to happen. And so you can see your location wherever you are. Like 2 inches in Charleston, 3.5 in Mutts Corner, 5 inches in Georgetown, almost 6 inches in Myrtle Beach, 6 inches in Florence. Maybe even almost close to 7 in Sherrod, maybe even 7 to 8 in Rock Hill, Winsboro, Newbury. And then even up there inside the upstate, 5 inches in Greenville, 4 inches in Anderson, 6 in Greenwood. And so it will kind of just go back and forth, and these totals will change. And obviously these probably aren't going to be the exact totals. It's just, that's just how weather rolls. It's not going to be exactly like this, but it's definitely a good estimate of what we could potentially see as we go into the next 3 days or so, because this is how far this goes out for the next 3 days. Let's go and talk about the crazy score. You might be asking, crazy score, what's that? It is a score that we see how crazy the weather is throughout the entire state of South Carolina, and this is for tonight. We are at a 68, which is relatively more on the accurate side, obviously because of the wintry threat that we have. If you see snow, that's in 51 to 70. So that definitely puts us inside that strong category. But it's not only that snow as well. Not only that snow, that's the only thing that's causing this. But also temperatures in the wind chills. Like I said, we're going to have some temperatures down to the teens in terms of wind chills. So that's, like I said, even without wind chills, we're still going to be in like the 20s, and for a lot of us still below freezing. I think most of us will be below freezing tonight. So it's still, if you have any sort of pipes they have to protect, any sort of pets they have to bring inside, any sort of plants that you have to get covered up or put inside of a garage, make sure that you go on and do so. Make sure that you go on and do so. That definitely should be a priority. Just as you go throughout, tomorrow, for sure, because, this winter storm's coming, like, later tomorrow, like later tomorrow night, so you don't have that much more time to prepare, so make sure that you're getting all of that stuff taken care of, and then for the most part, no radiation or cooling, and also cloud cover will also kind of bump up the score a little bit as well. Now for the SPC outlook, thunderstorms are not expected tonight. Tomorrow, Sunday, we're good there. Fire weather, we're good here. We're not looking for any sort of fire weather, excessive rainfall. We're good here, so we have nothing to watch for here. And so, now what most people have been waiting for. The models. What does the models look like? What does the timing look like for everybody? And what, is going on in terms of your precipitation type, your totals. What does each model say? And so we're going to break that down right now. So we're going to start off with the HRRR first. This model is the shortest, and because we're talking about the short term first, we're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. And if you go in and push this forward, you see by 11 o'clock p.m. nothing quite happening yet. But then you get to around 12 to 1 o'clock in the morning, and you start to see some snowy activity start to go on up there inside of the upstate. You see some going on up there inside of like the northeastern PD areas. But like I said, nothing too crazy yet. We're just getting started. This is not the main system. You go on all the way into 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, all the way to 5 a.m. And you definitely have some snow going on over there inside of the upstate. And so that, can potentially be a bit moderate. Maybe trying to get a little bit to the more moderate / heavyish side, but definitely not the heaviest, so. But definitely a lot more on the moderate side up there inside of the upstate as you go into tomorrow morning at around like 6 a.m. You continue that forward. Here's 8 o'clock in the morning right here, going into 9 o'clock in the morning. You have snowfall going on throughout the upstate, the Midlands. You even see some sleet and maybe even some freezing rain going on as well inside of the Grand Strand areas. If you move on over into 11 o'clock in the morning, you see snowfall going on still inside the upstate, still getting covered. Midland still getting covered. with snowfall. And then everybody else, the low country, still has not received any sort of snowfall yet. The Grand Strand area still has not received any sort of snowfall yet at that time. Really, kind of. I mean, I see like a little dot over there, but I'm not really too confident that that dot's even going to be there in the next model run. But we to around noon, and you start to see some rainfall, some sleet. Now moving to the low country a little bit, but not quite as everybody else. Upstate still receiving their snowfall by 12 o'clock p.m. Midland still receiving some snowfall by noon. PD and the Grand Strand areas, especially the Grand Strand area, still has not received snowfall yet. To 2 p.m. we go, all the way to 3 p.m. That main majority of snowfall now moving into the upstate, now kind of moving its way out now. And then we start to see that snowfall start to really take over the low country by around 3 to 4 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. I mean, a good moderate to maybe slash heavyish batch of snow, maybe trying to move into that Tri-County area, Dorchester, Berkeley, Charleston County. And then as you go through even more, here's 6 o'clock p.m. right here. Snowfall going on throughout the entire state at this point. And it looks like areas even down there near Hilton Head Island, near Beaufort, getting in on some snowfall as well. Even as far south as into like southeastern Georgia. I mean, they're seeing snowfall all the way down there. And then you start to see kind of some more of that snowfall, kind of more moderate side, get into the more PD and the Grand Strandish areas by 6 o'clock p.m. And the backside comes along, some lighter snow, and then it moves out like that. So that's how the HRRR breaks it down for us. And so if we go back a little bit, you do in fact see some freezing rain and some sleet in there. So like I was saying earlier, don't be surprised if you see some freezing rain or some sleet, especially if you're inside of the low country areas, the PD areas, and according to this model, even the western Midlands as well. But that moves out after that's gone, though. For the rest of the short-term future, it just looks like it's going to be dry after that storm moves out. So now let's go on and look at the NAM 3 kilometer model. We're going to go on and look at the 18Z. And we're going to see how this one plays out. So this one plays out more almost in a similar fashion. It has that snowfall moving into the upstate, but instead it has like a little bit of a, kind of like a little push of moisture inland, bringing some freezing rain throughout that eastern low country area going into the PD and the Grand Strandish areas by around 8 o'clock in the morning. That gets out, and then we have snowfall on the backside up there inside the upstate. Here's 12 o'clock p.m. right here, and so I am noticing the trend that, that big push of moisture, that big push of snowfall moving up there inside of the upstate really is occurring around that 8 to 9-ish a.m. time frame. Now, if you go on all the way to around 3 o'clock p.m., like I said, moving to the low country as well a little bit, 2 to 3 o'clock p.m., you have some more of that moderate snow maybe hitting the PD area a bit quicker. Because like we saw with the HRRR did not have snowfall really getting into the PD and the Grand Strand this early. And so according to the NAM, it does. And then the entire state's covered, trying to get covered with snow by 4 to 5 p.m. And then it moves out by the time we get into around 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So, I mean, that's just what we're looking at. It has a little bit more of a freezing rain and sleet scenario, but more on the eastern side instead of the western side like the HRRR did. And so let's go and look at these totals real quick for both of these models, then we're going to look at the long-term ones. Well, if we go in and look at, let's go and look at total snowfall. Right now, I mean, it shows a good amount. Around 6 over there near Sumter, 4 to 5 inches near Columbia, 2.5 near Charleston, around 4 inches near Myrtle Beach, 4 inches up there inside the upstate. Highest one I'm seeing is around 8 inches, and in like the Tri-County areas around 4 to 5. And then the lowest areas being down here near Hilton Head Island, to where it's only like up to like an inch or so. And then in terms of freezing rain, I mean, it actually shows a good little bit, and indeed it does. It shows almost some areas potentially trying to get to 1/4 of an inch. A freezing rain, I mean, that would definitely cause some problems. And not only would it cause some problems, but it also will decrease your snow as well, because instead of you getting snow, you're getting freezing rain, and that's taking time off. So that actually could cause some issues. I mean, right here, if you have ice on the roads as well as snow. But back over to the ARRR, because I do want to go back and check out. Let me go in and go back towards the 0-0 real quick, and I want to check out the totals for this one as well. We're going to go and look at total freezing rain, and for the most part, in terms of total freezing rain, it doesn't really show that much in terms of total freezing rain, so a lot less than what the NAM showed. And then in terms of total snowfall, shows around more of that area moving over towards the east, 7 inches over here near like Florence. You have almost 8 inches near Myrtle Beach, 5 to 6 inches near Charleston. You have around a good like a 4 inches over there near Columbia. And so especially down here inside like where I see like 5 to 6 inches down there in Charleston, I mean, that's a huge overperformance right there if that happened. Because right now, snowfall rates, according to the National Weather Service, says only 2 inches. Now it says 2 to 4 inches, which would still technically be an overperformance. So something to look out for there. But now let's go into the long term now. So we're going to look at with the GFS first. We're going to start off here at 7 o'clock p.m. You go on and push this forward. And there goes that snowfall, moving into the upstate. As you get into tonight, has some freezing rain with it. Nothing's really too crazy. You see a mix of rainfall as well. It's going to be like a mix of rain and snow, both. And so that's also something to look out for as well. You go on all the way through 4 o'clock p.m. I mean, heavy batches of snow potentially going on more into that low country area like we were talking about earlier, 7 to 10 p.m. And then the snow gets out of here by around 4 to 7 a.m.-ish, maybe even a bit later than that. Now, if we go on and look at totals for this one, like I said, it's going to be more on the, kind of like more on the lesser, more or less accurate side than the ARRR and the ones that I just showed you, just because those are short term, those go hour by hour, and this only goes by 6-hour increments, so this is more of a model that we would use, like I said, in the long term, but we just are using it now. But you see same thing, 5 inches down there near Charleston. You see 6 inches over there near Dorchester, Berkeley County. You see around 5 over here inside of Sumter, 6 over here in Florence, 3 to 4 in the upstate. And then even if we go on and move into the European model has some freezing rain and some sleet going on. But that snowfall still making that appearance tonight. And it's going throughout these same areas right here as you go all the way through until we get to around 7 a.m. on Sunday till it moves away. The GDPS, which is a Canadian model, snowfall moving in actually around 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. And then it causes its snowfall and it gets out, guess by what time? 7 o'clock in the morning, maybe a bit later than that. And then the icon model being kind of like the same way as everything else, because everything at this point is showing this system kind of moving through at around 7 o'clock in the morning, pushing through 1 a.m. on Sunday, 7 a.m. on Sunday, and then once you get to 1 p.m., it's all out of our hair. Yeah. So one thing that I am seeing is that there still is a mix. I mean, there are still some models right now saying that some snow and some freezing rain will happen. I mean, there's models saying that no freezing rain will happen, so I think, right now, more of the shorter term models are showing freezing rain, but also another thing that they are not taking into account is the totals. They are all still all over the place right now in terms of totals for this freezing rain. So that's, in my opinion, is one of the X factors just to this entire scenario, is how much freezing rain will everybody see? Because like I said, models are still all over the place right now in terms of freezing rain. The National Weather Service, like I showed earlier, this was their forecast. ARRR did not look like this. The NAM looked like this, but it was a lot more ice. The European model, I think that's probably was the closest one to that. Maybe the GFS, but I think the Euro probably was the closest on it. But anyways, I was showing the totals. So this is what the Euro model right here looks like. And so we're going to go in and look at the winter weather. We're going to go in and look at the total snowfall here as well. And so far, it just looks like that it's more on the, I see definitely more on the lesser side down here inside of the more low country areas. Definitely on the lesser side down there. And just overall on the lesser side for a lot of people, maybe bringing that more heavier snow up into the upstate potentially. But this one definitely shows a lot more of a weaker scenario. I mean, I see like pockets of around 6 inches up there inside of Spartanburg. I see down here near Georgetown around 7 inches down there. I see around a good 4 inches over there near Myrtle Beach. And so I think that that one's kind of out. We'll see what the GDPS and the Icon says, because the GDPS right now, the Canadian one, kind of agrees with what the GFS says. Well, actually, pretty much just what the GFS says, and so it's around like a good 7 inches over here inside of Florence. 4 inches near Myrtle Beach, but that one, in my opinion, I think that this run right here, including with the GFS right now, probably these two are probably going to be the closest, and then the European model and the Icon, they're kind of just on their own separate wavelength right now. But back to the GDPS, like I was talking about, almost 5 inches over there near Greenville, 4 inches over here near Columbia. You see around 3 over there inside of the Charleston area, and then you go over into the Icon, where it shows almost around like 7 to 8-ish inches over there near Rock Hill. You see around a good 4 near Columbia, only like less than an inch inside of Charleston. In like the Tri-County area is only 1 to 2 inches. You see around 4 over here inside of the Myrtle Beach area as well. So if I was to pick one, obviously what I think would probably most likely happen, in my opinion, I think that it probably would most likely be this one. I think the GDPS. In my opinion, if I had to choose, I think that this one right here probably be the more accurate one. But like I said, none of them really show the exact totals from what the National Weather Service shows here. So like I said, I mean, there are some areas that are showing more, like it's showing Columbia at 7. It's only showing Columbia at 4 in the models. So, but we'll continue to, look out for it. We'll continue to see what happens here. And so now that pretty much all of that is out of the way, we talked about totals, we talked about timing for this storm system. What's going on in terms of our temperatures as we continue further out into after the storm. And we're going to go in and move over into our temperatures right now. Not wind chills, not yet. We're not going to talk about wind chills yet. But like I said, as the storm is going on, I mean, you're going to have temperatures here. It's 10 p.m. where all of us are inside the 20s. We go into Sunday morning. Temperatures are going to be down in single digits without wind chills up there inside of the upstate. You see temperatures near 20 degrees in Myrtle Beach. You see temperatures near 20 degrees in Charleston. And that will continue Sunday night going into Monday morning. It could potentially be even colder than that. And you see 7 degrees over here inside of Sumter over there in Florence. You see 14 near Columbia. And so that will all definitely prevent that snowfall from really melting, because you go through a day of 30s-ish or so, and then you go back, that stuff's just gonna refreeze right back again. So how long will the snow be on the ground? For right now, we can't really say for sure exactly, because just time will tell at that point, when we start seeing stuff clear up. But I mean, these temperatures are just relentless at this point. And then if you even go into Tuesday, going into Wednesday, things will start to cool back down again. We'll be back to being below freezing again as we go into around like the 6-ish or so. And then back to our temperatures back down to like the 20s as you go into like the 8th, going into like the 11th. I mean, it just continues. And we will have some warmer air coming in. You see around like a good, in the 60s-ish or so as you go more into February. You see even some areas potentially trying to get back into the 60s as you go into the 4th here as well. But then if you go on and look at the wind chills now, because that's one of the main things that we also have to talk about. Going on to start this up, we start off here. This right here, this is, okay, there we go, 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. You see, single digits but that was expected. Then you start to see negatives. This right here is that Sunday at 7 a.m. You're seeing -4 over there inside of Anderson, and possibly even some more negatives as well. And then even the night after, I mean, you see 0 degrees over there near Florence. You see 5 degrees wind chills in over there near Myrtle Beach. Like at Myrtle Beach, 5-degree wind chills as you go into Monday morning there. And then that goes through, and then as we get more and more out, we just continue to see that. So if I go on real quick and show you the lowest wind chills as we go throughout the next 3 days or so, I'm going to move on to the day 3 minimum of all, throughout from 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday to 7 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. These are everyone's lowest temperatures right here. These are everyone's lowest temperatures right here. So right now it's showing, 0 degrees over there near Greenville. You see around a good 1 degree over there near Spartanburg, 2 in Columbia, 0 in Kingstree, 1 Georgetown, 3 Moncks Corner, 4 inside of Charleston and Walterboro. So this is definitely something that, if not as important, potentially even more important than the snowfall, because this will cause issues. This will cause, obviously, pipes to burst. This will cause plants as well to go on and die. That will cause also, if people aren't careful, leave pets outside. Obviously that's not something you should be doing. If people are outside with non-proper clothing, that's something as well that also may not end well. As well as for people who possibly still don't have power at this time. Just overall, just not a great scenario as we continue out the next 3 days or so. And speaking of, right now it seems like that we are pretty much all cleared right now. We only have 17 people without power throughout the state. So I'm pretty sure everybody that got hit by the storm, I see 2 people in Greenville County that are still without power. But for the most part, it seems like most of us still have power. But even if power goes out during the storm, with wind gusts of up to 35-ish miles per hour, that could potentially cause some issues. And then after that, I think that is about all you have to say for the forecast here. So let me go on real quick. Go back on the What's on Tap. I believe I got everything taken care of. So if you have any question or anything like that, you can always leave it inside the chat. You can always go in and leave it there. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Let me go and change it live chat right here. Boom. So starting off, Mr. Chris was here first. Hello, everyone. Hope you had a great day and are prepared for tomorrow. My Aunt Lewis says, good evening, everyone. I pray that you all had a wonderful day. Well, thank you so much for that, and hello to both of you. Mr. Chris also says, please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button if you have not already. Also, share with everyone that you know. Now is the good time, as this is for vital information. This is vital information that's going out right now. Not only with the snow, but like I said, but also with those temperatures being down as well. And I think this is a glitch with YouTube because anytime I try to switch back over into the stream settings, oh no, never mind, it's back. Yeah, I think that's a glitch with YouTube that keeps on glitching out my my browser for some reason. So, but we got to go back up real quick. Maya Lewis says, well, I should say in spite of the cold. And then Mr. Chris says currently it's 43 degrees here in Moncks Corner, wind chill of 39. Right now at my house, if I go in and check real quick, it looks like that I have temperatures right here. My older one says around 44. Same thing with my newer one, and it says wind chills still, not really any wind chills. It's still 44. So not really too much in terms of wind chills right now. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. And then Mr. Chris says, same here. Started off a little cold, but turned out nice. My Nana says, hello, Jay and all. A chilly day today. And then my Aunt Shirley says, Friday evening blessings to all. Well, thank you so much for that. Continuing our way down, my Aunt Lewis says today in Georgetown, our high was around 51 degrees. And so that pretty much was actually, mine was actually a bit higher than that. My older one says 59. Newer one says 56, so definitely a lot higher. Mr. Chris says it was only 49 degrees, but nice. Thad says, good evening, Joseph and the Weather 360 family. I trust all is well with everyone. All is well with me. Trail also says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. Mr. Chris has been watching the news, and they're saying that we're looking at 4 to 6 inches here in Monk's Corner. I can say that that's about right. Well, yeah. I mean, that might be overdoing it a little bit, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if y'all saw 4 to 6 inches of snow. I would not be shocked one bit, but right now, from the actual National Weather Service, I think they're saying around 3 to 5. So a little bit less, but, you know, I would, just see what happens there. And you're more on almost like that northern Berkeley County section there, so not quite too much on the southern side. So you might get a good amount. Definitely could get a good amount though. And then let's see. Milo says in Georgetown, everyone was shopping to get prepared for this weekend weather, which they should, and I'm glad that they are. I told y'all earlier, people were probably going to be going on to get their shopping done, today, tomorrow. That's why I said earlier this week, get all your stuff done now so you won't have to go back later. Thad says it was a nice mild day here today in San Antonio, mid 50s. I had to wear a jacket. And then I hope everyone is staying warm and safe during this tumultuous weather. Well, thank you so much for that. And he also says current temperature is 46, clear skies. Temperatures will dip down to the 30s tonight. My outlet says our local weather report said we should get anywhere from 2 to 3 inches. I could see that, maybe a bit more. He also says, as others can see, we seldom get very much snow in South Carolina. Absolutely. If my memory is right, I believe that this is the closest snow that South Carolina has had, close less than a year apart. In recent memory, yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember last year, obviously, we got some. I got a little bit of a dusting in 2022, but the main one that I remember the most is the one in 2018, where we got like half a foot of snow, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a good storm right there that came through. If y'all lived there back in 2018, you probably remember that. Then he says, I just got another alert on my phone, winter storm warning. Just got another alert, lake wind advisory for winds in excess of 20 miles per hour, possibly even more. Mr. Michael says, be prepared and hopefully stay safe at home until the storm passes by. Absolutely, we do not recommend anybody to travel or anything like that. Please remember to check in on the elderly and bring pets inside and plants, as well as drip your faucets if you have to, especially if they're not wrapped, or open up kitchen cabinets, because it's going to be another cold one tonight and tomorrow as well. I mean, just tomorrow during the day. I mean, like I said, it's only going to be temperatures in the 30s, mid 30s. So, obviously we're talking about it for tonight, but tomorrow during the day, it's just going to be very cold as well. And with those wind chills potentially getting even lower than below freezing. Cindy says, please bring your pets inside. God bless the homeless animals, absolutely, and the homeless people as well. Make sure that they are keeping your prayers up for them as well. My cousin Cheryl says, good evening, weatherman. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry I missed the few nights I fell out in the snow, so be careful out there. Love y'all. Do your thing. Well, I do appreciate you for showing up, and I'm glad that you're okay after your fall out there in the snow. Continue our way down. It looks like we're going to be cold for a while. I did everything I need to do today, even move my laundry day for today. I did go on and do laundry today as well. Mythic Chris says, have you made a decision whether you go live for the snow? Will I go live for the snow? I might for a little bit. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a nighttime event. So, we'll see what happens there, but I might go live there. For the most part, it would have to be, nighttime event tonight, but tomorrow during like noon, it's going to be more in like the upstate areas, Midland areas, and then that would go all the way throughout the day. So maybe, I'll see if I have nothing to do tomorrow. I'll see, for sure. Then continuing through, that's it. So let's go on now and talk about the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. You might be asking 4 locations outside of South Carolina. What am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we go in and talk about their areas for them. So we're going to start off with San Antonio first. Low temperatures tonight at 33, high temperatures tomorrow at 49, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around a good 27. There is indeed no severe weather for you. And you might be asking, well, what about excessive rainfall? Because obviously that's something else that you most likely want to know. Guess what? Absolutely nothing. And in fact, for all 4 locations, yes, all 4, severe weather and excessive rainfall is not expected. So that should answer your questions there. In terms of your future, for San Antonio, looks like maybe a chance of showers on Tuesday night. But after that, you are going to warm back up as you get into especially Tuesday of next week, high of 72. So you will warm back up. You are warming back up progressively. And then for Raleigh, low temperatures tonight at 16, high temperatures tomorrow at 23, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 14. Chance of snow tonight, heavy snow tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. And then you are under that winter storm warning, also a cold weather advisory as you go into tonight, going into tomorrow. And then maybe even an extreme cold warning as well, as you will have wind chills down to 0 degrees on Saturday night. Those gusts will be all the way up to around 30 miles per hour as you go through this winter storm as well. In terms of your future, you will be warming up too. So after you get through this storm, you will start to warm up. For Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 4, high temperatures tomorrow at 21, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 11. Precipitation not expected tonight or tomorrow, but tomorrow night you have a chance of snow. Same thing Wednesday and Wednesday night. Chance of snow on those 2 days or on those 2 areas as well. In terms of your wind chills, it looks like you're going to be down to the negatives, and you are going to just continue to be down in the 30s, low 30s, high 20s. So nothing too much. But technically that'd be a warm-up. Technically, because if you're inside of the high 20s, low 30s, that's higher than 21. And then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, you have low temperatures tonight at 10, high temperatures tomorrow at 29, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 17. Slight chance of flurries as you go into tonight. Also a cold weather advisory in effect, as you're going to have obviously low temperatures down to 10 degrees. Wind chills as low as 0 tomorrow morning. And then for the most part, you will also be on the warm-up, definitely. As early as Sunday, you have a high temperature of 51 on Sunday. So, you're going to warm up quickly. You're going to warm up so quick that in about a day time span, you're going to have a full-on 22-degree difference. So a huge difference there. And that's all that I have to say there for the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. What about the entire U.S.? A powerful Arctic blast will bring dangerous cold, record low temperatures to the upper Ohio Valley, mid-Atlantic, Gulf Coast, and the Southeast this weekend. A rapidly deepening storm will produce widespread heavy snow and wind from the southern Appalachians across the Carolinas and into southern Virginia into Sunday. Storm force winds and coastal flooding will also be possible across the East Coast. They're even talking about the potential for some hurricane force. Yes, hurricane force wind gust out there along the coast of North Carolina. I saw that. I didn't really even believe that too much, but I saw it and I was like, wow. That is definitely some heavy winds out there, and so they're going to have power outages. They're going to have structural damage over there, and it's with all that snow, with all that cold air, with almost close to, with hurricane force wind gusts, even more than that, that's going to be a lot to deal with over there along that North Carolina coast. Other than that, I think that's all that I have to say really tonight. Top fans of the night for tonight. We had a good amount. Mr. Chris was at number 1. My Aunt Lula was at number 2. And then we had a lot of people trying to get to that number 3 spot. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe my Nana was at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Also, being here early and being active inside the chat always helps you get towards that top position. And so I think, like I said, I think that's about all. Everybody's inside of a winter storm. Winter storm warning now. Greenville, Spartanburg says in their area, in between 4 to 7 inches, wind gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. Columbia says around a good 3 to 6 inches, wind gusts as high as 35. Charleston says around wind gusting as high as 35 miles per hour, and then 2 to 4 inches, and maybe even a light glaze of ice. And then Wilmington as well, being up there inside the PD and the Grand Strand areas, 5 to 8 inches with localized amounts of 10 inches, and then maybe even sleet and freezing rain. So all of that's all inside the question as we go into tomorrow. So make sure that you are prepared, you're safe for it, and make sure you have another heat source just in case the power does go out. Also, like I said, don't forget about tonight. Still going to be very cold tonight. Make sure you drip those faucets if you have to. Open up kitchen cabinets. Bring pets inside, plants inside. Anything you have to do to protect anything for those freezing temperatures. And that's about it. So I will be back, like I said, tomorrow morning with your Saturday morning forecast update. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Friday. And if you're new, hit those 2 buttons before you leave.